Malaysia, Madani Amrunefong, and you're watching Updates at Noon. In the leading stories today, government committed to support aerospace industry growth. Brazilian court order countrywide suspension of Telegram. Covering up the landslide area using canvas is among three immediate measures being taken to prevent further incidents near the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Academy (MACA). Disaster Operations Chief ACP Beh Eng Lai said the work to cover the affected area had commenced at 3:30 p.m. yesterday and was expected to finish by today.
Fasa pertama kita akan buat di sempadan pagar IIM. Itu mengambil masa lebih kurang 2 hari untuk siapkan pemasangan curucur besi. Lepas siap dipasang curucur besi, maka di situ kita akan membuat satu jalan akses baru untuk mengeluarkan semua kenderaan yang tersadai di dalam markah.
ACP Beh, who is also Sentul District Police Chief, said the measure had been decided in a meeting with the agencies involved, including the Public Works Department, JKR, and the Malaysian Fire and Rescue Department. ACP Beh said apart from that, the JKR had also asked a competent contractor to install ground movement sensors in the area as there were still small landslides occurring which had reached up to the tennis court of IIM. He said the sensors had been placed at 10 points around the affected area and everyone in the area would be instructed to leave in the event of any ground movement. The government is committed in supporting the growth of the aerospace industry and will continue to work closely with all stakeholders to create a conducive environment for investment and sustainable growth. According to Minister of Investment, Trade and Industry, Tengku Datuk Sri Zafrul Tengku Abdul Aziz, Malaysia is today in a much better position policy-wise to promote itself as pro-trade, pro-business and pro-investment.
Emphasize that the government is committed to support the growth of the aerospace industries, and we will continue to work closely with the industry players, the stakeholders, to create a conducive environment for investment and sustainable growth.
The minister said this at the signing ceremony between Asia Digital Engineering (ADE) and OCP Asia Limited yesterday. ADE, the engineering and maintenance subsidiary of Capital A Berhad, has secured a $100 million investment from OCP Asia to construct and operate a state-of-the-art 14-line aircraft maintenance hangar facility in Sepang, Selangor. Tengku Datuk Sri Zafrul said Malaysia has a thriving maintenance, repair and overhaul MRO sector that offers numerous investment opportunities. He noted that in 2022, Malaysia clinched 600 million ringgit worth of MRO expansion projects involving heavy maintenance and components MRO activities by various reputable companies operating in the country. The Road Transport Department (JPJ) issued 14,514 notices for various offences under the Road Transport Act 1987, Act 333, while 500 motorcycles were confiscated through the HRA 2023 Integrated Advocacy and Motorcycle Ops from 18th to 25th April in conjunction with Hari Raya Idul Fitri. Senior Director of the JPJ Enforcement Division, Datuk Lokman Jaman, said the notices were issued after carrying out inspection on 51,039 motorcycles, while motorcycles were seized due to the lack of insurance coverage, driving licence and others involving 291 point of duty locations across the country.
Jadi tujuan utama kita menjalankan pemeriksaan dan advokasi ini adalah semata-mata untuk membudayakan sikap mematuhi undang-undang, terutamanya kepada penunggang-penunggang motosikal, yang mana penunggang motosikal ini menyumbang 60% hingga 65% ya, kemalangan maut. Jadi fokus kita pada kali ini, pada malam ini adalah untuk membuat pemeriksaan dan advokasi kepada penunggang-penunggang motosikal supaya mereka mematuhi peraturan-peraturan jalan raya.
He said the 6 highest offences were no driving licence with 4,583 notices issued, followed by expired vehicle licence, no insurance, expired driving licence, not wearing helmet and violating traffic lights. Datuk Lokman said this after officiating the special motorcycle op for the state of Perak in conjunction with the HRA 2023 integrated op in Ipoh last night. A couple's Aidil Fitri visit to a family home ended in tragedy when their 1-year, 9-month-old daughter drowned in the swimming pool of her grandfather's house in Tambun on Tuesday. Ipoh Police Chief ACP Yahaya Hassan said the incident was believed to have occurred at 8:45 p.m. when the child's father found his baby girl floating on her back in the pool. According to preliminary investigations, the child and both her parents, aged 31 and 33, were visiting their family members in a house owned by the victim's grandfather. The father then rushed the child to a private hospital, but she was confirmed dead by medical personnel. ACP Yahaya said the autopsy held at the Raja Pemaisuri Bainun Hospital found the cause of death to be drowning. The parents of the child are being investigated under Section 33, Child Act 2001, Act 611, for leaving a child without reasonable supervision, and if convicted, can be fined not more than 5,000 ringgit or jailed for more than 2 years, or both. ACP Yahaya then advised and warned the public, especially parents or guardians, not to leave their children unsupervised to prevent any accidents. Over in Terengganu, a teenage girl drowned during a swim outing with her family at the Latai Changkah waterfalls in Kampung Hulu Seladang near Kemaman at about 12:15 p.m. yesterday. The victim, identified as Nur Alia Farhana Mat Zaid, 19, is said to have lost her footing in the water, which proved fatal while swimming with 5 female cousins accompanied by their uncle. Setia Police Chief DSP Afandi Hussein said the victim from Seribandi, Kemaman, was brought ashore by the uncle with the help of other family members. He said the victim's family then called police for help, but the teenager was confirmed dead by an assistant medical officer who arrived at the scene at 1:55 p.m. The victim's body was taken to the Setia Hospital for further action. Police would like to advise the public to always take safety measures during recreational activities in water areas or elsewhere. A total of 1,877 cases of dengue fever was reported from 16th to 22nd April, a drop of 522 cases or 21.8% compared with 2,299 cases in the previous week. Health Director General Datuk Dr. Muhammad Razi Abu Hassan said one death due to dengue fever complications was also reported during the week 16 period. He said the cumulative number of dengue cases reported to date were 35,202 compared with 11,921 cases for the same period in 2022, which is an increase of 23,281 cases for 195.3%. In a statement, he said the 22 deaths due to dengue fever complications reported was also high compared to 6 deaths for the same period last year. According to him, 116 hotspot localities were reported this week compared to 109 hotspot localities the previous week, with 62 localities being in Selangor, Pulau Pinang 32, Sabah 8, Kuala Lumpur and Putrajaya 7, Perak 3, Kedah 2 and 1 each in Sarawak and Labuan. Datuk Dr. Muhammad Razi said that during the Aidil Fitri celebrations, cleanliness of the environment should be priority because there are various containers that have the potential to become breeding grounds for Aedes mosquitoes. He also advised those who go for sightseeing activities to use insect repellents to prevent mosquito bites, especially Aedes mosquitoes. foreign front deaths caused by COVID-19 dipped 95% since January. That and more coming right after this.
Dalam kita membangunkan aplikasi yang memberi kesejahteraan kepada negara, ada yang menyalahgunakannya. Sejak kebelakangan ini, terdapat peningkatan ketara dalam penyebaran maklumat atau berita palsu yang boleh menimbulkan kekeliruan dan kegusaran di kalangan masyarakat. Ancaman berita palsu tanpa verifikasi sumber, fakta dan maklumat memberi impak serta implikasi negatif kepada rakyat dan negara. Sebarang penyebaran berita palsu akan dikenakan tindakan undang-undang serta didakwa mengikut Seksyen 505 Kanun Kesiksaan dan Seksyen 233 Akta Komunikasi dan Multimedia 1998. Denda maksimum RM50,000 atau penjara tidak melebihi 1 tahun atau kedua-duanya dan juga denda selanjutnya setiap hari kesalahan berjumlah RM1,000. Bersama, cegah berita palsu. Sebar fakta, bukan dusta. Tidak pasti, jangan kongsi.
You're back with me, Renee Fong. A Brazilian court on Wednesday ordered the countrywide suspension of messaging app Telegram after its parent company failed to provide data sought by authorities in neo-Nazis operating on the network. The move came after a spate of violent school attacks, at least one of them linked to exchanges on a group with anti-Semitic leanings. Justice Minister Flavio Dino said the court had fined Telegram about $198,000 per day for not complying with an ongoing probe into neo-Nazi activity on social networks and ordered the temporary suspension of ITS activities. The minister said there are groups called Anti-Semitic Front and Anti-Semitic Movement operating in social media platforms. Earlier this month, a hatchet-wielding man killed 4 children between the ages of 4 and 7 at their school in the same week as 2 other non-fatal school attacks. Last month, a 13-year-old boy killed a teacher in a knife attack at a school in Sao Paulo. In November, a 16-year-old shooter killed 4 people and injured more than 10 others in twin attacks on 2 schools in Aracruz in the southeastern state of Espírito Santo. The G1 news site citing police sources reported the teenager had allegedly interacted with an anti-Semitic groups on Telegram. According to a document from the Federal Justice Authority, investigators had asked Telegram for the personal data of members of 2 stated anti-Semitic groups on the platform. It added that the company handed over only data on the administrator of one of the groups, and there was intent by Telegram not to cooperate with the ongoing investigation. Peru's president decreed a state of emergency at the South American country's borders Wednesday and ordered the deployment of troops to reinforce checkpoints and blocked undocumented migrants making their way north from Chile. Hundreds of migrants, mainly from Haiti and Venezuela, who had lived in Chile but are now trying to leave, have been blocked for weeks at the border between the Peruvian city of Tacna and Arica in northern Chile. Many say they are seeking to make their way home or continue further north to the United States as Chile tightens migration controls. The Peruvian government has already sent 200 police officials to reinforce immigration control points in what it said was also a bid to limit transnational crime. On Wednesday, President Dina Boluarte said extra soldiers will be deployed to support police at border crossings with Chile, Bolivia, Brazil, Ecuador and Colombia to maintain control of internal order. The government did not say what the state of emergency would entail or how long it would remain in place. Drought-hit Spain was bracing Monday for an unusually early heat wave, prompting fears for wildfires in a nation already so dry that some farmers have opted not to plant crops. Spain's state weather agency, EMET, said temperatures are expected to be 15 to 20 degrees Celsius higher than the average in some area. Spain's Civil Protection Agency warned there was a high risk of wildfires due to the scorching weather. The nation led Europe in land burned last year during a record hot 2022 that the government and independent experts said was the product of climate change. A prolonged drought has caused the wildfire season to start earlier than usual, with March recording the first major fires of the year. Blazes have ravaged some 54,000 hectares of land so far this year in Spain, compared with just over 17,000 hectares during the same time in 2022. The lack of precipitation has been especially severe in the northeastern region of Catalonia, where water reservoirs are at just 1/4 of their capacity. This has led to water use restrictions, with residents of Barcelona and its surrounding area banned from filling swimming pool. The weather office said temperatures are expected to drop on Sunday and Monday, ending this episode of exceptionally high temperatures for the time of year. The World Health Organization said that COVID-19 deaths had dropped by 95% since the start of the year, but warned the virus was still on the move. WHO Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus said COVID-19 was here to stay and countries would have to learn how to manage its ongoing non-emergency effects, including post-COVID-19 condition or long COVID.
Don't follow the prescripts.
He, however, said that WHO remains hopeful of declaring an end to COVID-19 as a public health emergency of international concern, with the committee that advises him on the status due to convene next month for its regular quarterly meeting. Commenting on the emergence of the new XBB.1.16 variant, Tedros said this shows that the virus is still changing and is still capable of causing new waves of disease and death. The sublineages are now the dominant strains worldwide, as they have an increase in growth advantage and are also showing immune escape, meaning people can be reinfected despite having been vaccinated or previously infected. Tedros meanwhile said that an estimated 1 in 10 infections resulted in long COVID, suggesting that hundreds of millions of people would need longer-term care. US President Joe Biden hosted his South Korean counterpart Yoon Suk-yeol for a state visit on Wednesday, at which they will announce a beefed-up US nuclear shield for Washington's vital ally in the face of an aggressive North Korea. A military honor guard and hundreds of guests massed outside the White House, where Yoon and his wife Kim Kyun-hee arrived for a day of pomp and ceremony and far-reaching geostrategic discussions. Standing alongside Yoon, Biden lauded what he called the unbreakable bond of the countries, ironclad alliance forged in the Korean War 7 decades ago. Today, the allies are economic powerhouses and partners in keeping a free and open Asia-Pacific region.
And today, I'm proud to say, Mr. President, I think that our partnership is ready to take on any challenges we may face. We see it in the Indo-Pacific, where our alliance is the linchpin of regional security and prosperity.
Ahead of Yoon's arrival, senior US officials told reporters that the two leaders would announce measures to reinforce deterrence against North Korea, including the first deployment of a US nuclear missile submarine to the country in decades. What will be known as the Washington Declaration will also create a US-South Korean consultative group, giving Seoul more information and input on nuclear policy, although Washington will retain sole command of its weapons. The South Korean president also took the time to meet with Tesla CEO Elon Musk yesterday in Washington to call for investment in his country. The two met at Musk's request as Yoon is in the US for a 6-day state visit. Yoon touted South Korea as an ideal country for Tesla to build a gigafactory, citing the country's cutting-edge industrial robots and high-skilled workers, the report said. He also offered to provide support, including tax benefits, to attract the EV maker's manufacturing plant. Musk told Yoon that South Korea remains as one of the top candidates for Tesla's gigafactories, and he would have an opportunity to visit the Asian country. However, Tesla and Musk did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Up next in sports, Manchester City struck league leaders Arsenal 4-1. Stay tuned. We begin our sports segment with news on local football front. Police FC hope to arrest their losing streak in the Super League by gunning down high-flying Kuala Lumpur City at the KLFA Stadium today. Though the Cops started the season well, they later suffered a slump, resulting in 3 wins, 1 draw and 5 losses. Police coach Azmi Aziz said they will try to restrict the movement of Romel Morales and Paulo Jose, who are likely to head the KL City's charges, as well as reduce the chances for counter-attack by the City boys.
Untuk game dengan KL tu memang kita harap kita lebih baiklah. Kita harap kita dapat create more chance, kita harap kita dapat convert peluang yang ada nanti insya-Allah, dan seterusnya kita dapat maximum point.
The Cops currently sit at the 10th place in standings with 10 points in hand. Moving on to Premier League race, Kevin De Bruyne netted a brace for himself to help Manchester City struck a blow at Arsenal's route to Premier League title as they outclassed the leaders 4-1 with an electrifying display at the Etihad Stadium this morning. Pep Guardiola's relentless side ran riot as they made it 12 successive league wins against Arsenal. De Bruyne fired City ahead in the 7th minute from Highland's pass, and the hosts bombarded Arsenal's goal before John Stones deservedly doubled their lead with a header in first half stoppage time. Arsenal, who began the clash 5 points clear, but having drawn 3 successive games, looked powerless to stop the onslaught. And when De Bruyne struck again early in the second half, it became a damage limitation operation for the leaders. Rob Holding grabbed an 86-minute consolation, but it was too little too late for Mikel Arteta's side. Highland finally got on the score sheet in stoppage time for his 49th goal of the season in all competitions, the most by a top-flight player in England since Clive Allen in 1986-87. City's 7th successive league win left them with 73 points to Arsenal's 75, but crucially, they have played 2 fewer games than the Londoners, whose hopes of a first title since 2004 now look forlorn after 4 games without a win. Guardiola City have trailed Arsenal for almost the entire season, but will go top if they beat Fulham at the weekend. British media on Wednesday reported that Mauricio Pochettino is set to be named as manager of Chelsea. Former Tottenham manager Pochettino was first linked with the Premier League club after Thomas Tuchel was sacked, and has emerged as the front-runner to take the permanent managerial role at Stamford Bridge. Frank Lampard is currently filling the role on an interim basis following the departure of Graham Potter. Pochettino, 51, has been out of work since a brief stint at Paris Saint-Germain, where he won last season's Ligue 1 title. He led Spurs to the 2019 Champions League final and 2 top 3 finishes in the Premier League between 2015-17. Chelsea are 11th in the league standings and at risk of their worst domestic league finish in nearly 30 years. Second Division club Fortuna Düsseldorf will be offering free tickets to all fans in some matches next season as part of a new strategy of anchoring the club tighter to the city and fans as the industry changes. Fortuna officials said free tickets to all fans registering on a platform to be part of the ticket draw would be offered for at least 3 league home games next season, and the cost would be covered by sponsors. Alexander Jobs, club CEO, said they want to open up football for all, calling it Fortuna for All. He said a pilot phase with at least 3 home games next season would be expanded to more matches and eventually to all home games. Fortuna have averaged home attendances of almost 30,000 in the second division this season. Germany's top Bundesliga is the world's best attended football league with more than 42,000 fans on average per match. 10 years on since Stan Wawrinka was a finalist at the Mutua Madrid Open, the Swiss is still competing at a high level in the Spanish capital. On Wednesday, the 38-year-old downed world number 39 Maxime Cressy 6-7, 6-3 and 7-6 in opening round action at the ATP Masters 1000 event. 3-time major champion Wawrinka, who is the oldest player in the Madrid draw, won 46 of 54 first serve points and fired 19 aces to advance after 2 hours 27 minutes. While Cressy stuck to his serve and volley tactics, Wawrinka stayed close to the baseline on first serve returns and only retreated to handle the American's hefty second delivery. The former world number 3 Wawrinka remained steady from the baseline and displayed passing shots off both wings, ending with 41 winners to just 18 enforced errors. Wawrinka will next meet Monte Carlo champion Andrei Rublev for the first time since the 2020 Rolex Paris Masters. The Swiss leads their ATP head-to-head 2-1. Emil Rusuvori survived 2 tiebreaks on Wednesday to advance to the second round of the Madrid Open, earning himself the right to square off against top seed Carlos Alcaraz. Rusuvori fired 9 aces and 30 winners in a mostly even match to beat France's Hugo Humbert 7-6, 7-6. Alcaraz rode home support to the Barcelona title on Sunday, and fans in Madrid will surely be behind him when he opens his campaign against the Finn, having had a bye in the first round. Alcaraz's compatriot Jaume Munar also won 2 tiebreaks to advance to the second round, beating Australia's Thanasi Kokkinakis 7-6, 7-6. Kokkinakis was up 5-2 in the second set but couldn't maintain his advantage as Munar stormed back into the set to send it to a breaker. The Spanish player then sealed his remarkable comeback to send Kokkinakis packing in brutal scenes. Munar will face number 30 seed Thailand Griekspoor in round 2 after the Dutchman also received a first round bye.
Jalinkan uhuah, raikan kesatuan di Syawal yang mulia. Majlis Rumah Terbuka Malaysia Madani bersama Yang Amat Berhormat Perdana Menteri buat julung-julung kali diadakan di negeri Kedah, iaitu pada hari Sabtu 29 April 2023 bermula pukul 10 pagi hingga 2 petang di Hotel Raya Alostar, Kedah. Orang ramai dijemput hadir dan perkhidmatan bas disediakan.
And with that, we reach the end of today's updates at noon. Our leading story this afternoon: government committed to support aerospace industry growth by creating conducive environment for sustainable expansion. And don't forget to join us again tonight at 8:30 p.m. on saluran Berita RTM for more news. Till then, Malaysia, I'm Renee Fong. Thank you for watching and Salam Aidilfitri.